This feels so official.
It is official.
We're back, baby doll.
We're back in this house.
In this new house. This is your first recording from your new
I think
domain,
it's the
isn't it?
second. It's the first. It's the first video recording.
It's the first video recording. You're right. We did
Yes,
record Sinners at your place, but not through
not through
the
technology, but in this new house, we stand for Gabriel.
Oh,
I like him as a villain.
gotcha. I see.
Yes, we're gonna
I
be
thought you meant that
combative.
you were embracing AI in your household.
Well, I mean, I use it a lot, but
I'm not gonna make a confession,
yeah,
and I love that I can say that because even though we have, as we all know, millions of fans,
millions of fans.
none of my coworkers.
I don't want that to happen yet. Not
I
until
don't either.
yeah,
I talk some mad shit sometimes and say some things that are not very cash money.
yeah.
But today, our grades were due because today's the last day of school for me. The grades were due at 4
Must
p.m.
be nice.
Ha 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 ha. Hey, you get a full fucking week off for Thanksgiving, motherfucker.
That's what it should be everywhere. Don't blame me because your
Blame the
district doesn't give you what should be.
But anyway, so grades were due today, and I finished my grades by
Mhm.
like 9:30 today.
Yeah.
So I actually spent like 45 minutes trying to get Guitar Hero working at school. But anyway, in the afternoon, I started putting in the comments, and I don't put a lot of comments. I just put like some, like one little blurb for each kid.
Right.
Bing, bing, boom.
I
I
don't
got
even
about
fuck with that.
halfway.
I don't
I got
fuck
about
with that.
halfway. I thought I hit save. I went to lunch. I came back, and my computer had logged me out. I
Yeah.
logged back in, and all my comments were fucking gone.
Oh no.
And I'm like, dear ChatGPT, give me 13 different
Excellent.
generic ass comments.
Excellent.
Excellent. So
You
that's
can't even hit like the little button. We have like the little buttons on ours that you
we
can hit.
do, but if I'm gonna be very honest, I don't like using those.
I never leave comments.
We,
I don't.
I mean, I remember once. This was back in Batavia. The principal like shat on me. She was like, "You need to give comments." I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
So ever since then, I've been paranoid, and I just do like very, very basic comments.
Yes.
Yeah, we use the canned ones. I don't like them. I have my own version of like canned comment, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. This time I was like, I'm not about to retype everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently, I am now work dad to our new first year teacher because I was like, girl, you cannot be writing a comment for every single standard.
Wow.
I'm like, you're gonna drive yourself fucking insane.
Good for you. You're keeping the profession alive.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
But anyway, completely off task already. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We went,
That should be our comment. Get back on task.
get back on task. We went to a late night movie last night.
And the theater was bussin'.
Dude, that theater was packed. About halfway through the movie, I went to the bathroom. I turned around and I go, oh,
Many people.
many people.
Very good.
Movies are back, baby.
Movies are back. America
America. Well,
is not
okay.
back. It's
All
not
right, slow
back
down.
yet.
It's not back.
yet.
But cinema is.
Cinema is.
For
That's what's
now,
important.
until the Department of Hollywood or whatever.
Oh, so stupid.
We're
So
so
stupid.
fucking unserious.
So stupid.
But we have a fantastic weekend
Yeah.
coming up because we have Mission Impossible, arguably the second big movie of the summer. Like summer movie season starts like the first weekend of May now.
Yeah.
So that was Thunderbolts. We haven't reviewed that yet. It's in the docket.
It's good.
Very good.
Yes.
But Mission Impossible, I think, is like the next big one. And then it also just happens to come out same weekend as Lilo and Stitch.
Which is also getting good reviews.
Very good reviews. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go see it on Sunday. I am very
Very
excited.
good.
Very excited. One of the things about this Mission Impossible movie is that it's kind of amazing that it was supposed to have the same plan as Across the Spider-Verse.
Where it was supposed to be in 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was the last Fast and Furious movie also in the same year?
It was. Yes.
My God, it was 2023.
And that's also going to be in 3, is it not? Or no, did it get moved back to 2?
It was, oh, dude. So that one was supposed to be 3 fucking movies, and I think they were like, no, we cannot do that.
Yeah, I don't think if you can't make this one 3, which spoiler alert, I think you could. But if they didn't make this one 3, then Fast and Furious does not need to be. Does not
No.
need to be 3
Here's
movies.
the thing. I find it amazing though that we have 3 different movies, all of them blockbusters, you could say.
Hmm.
Fast X was definitely a part one of blank, right? Very much an incomplete arc. I personally felt that same way about Across the Spider Verse. Very good movie.
Yes.
I love it. I genuinely do love that movie. But my like primary criticism of that entire thing is, while it's very good, I
Part.
feel like this is Act One.
Yes.
Um, and like it leaves you feeling like what the fuck just is going on.
And unlike Fast, the Spider Verse 1 was also incredible. I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's earned enough sea legs to be like, we're going to give you an incomplete movie.
Wait
Like
for Fast? Oh, sorry,
for
for
Spider
Across.
Verse.
Yes.
Whereas Fast has at least been around for 8, 9 movies.
Yeah. So like you
Yeah.
you feel like you could have just
Yeah.
done movie followed by movie and then go on your merry way. But I think out of all the 3 part 1s, I think Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning was the one that really did feel
The
like a
most complete.
complete movie, right? You're not resolving the full arc of the entire, entity stuff.
No, but this chapter is closed.
But that exactly that
Yes.
that feels like a very appropriate, like, this is the mission. Our mission is get key. Guess what?
Yeah.
We get key,
Yes.
right? Whereas now in this new movie, it's like, hey,
Use key.
we have we have to shut down AON.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's why, to me, then that even feels more shocking that this is the first movie out of those part 1s to actually get its sequel.
To get what? I didn't hear you for
To
the
get
last
its
part.
actual, like, part 2.
Yeah, I know.
Because we have not seen anything
For Fast.
for Fast. We haven't seen a goddamn thing for wherever the next one, I think it's called, like, Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Well, with those, Spider Verse, you obviously have the labor of intense animation,
Mm-hmm.
right, and the whole thing going on with that part of the industry. Fast, you just you have the level of competence that and morale that exists on that production set.
I think
Wait, do
when
it.
we talked about that
Do
movie,
it. Do the impression. Do the impression.
I can't remember. He's like, we're here. We're gonna make this movie," and the director's like, "Yeah, dude." It was the weirdest, like, little promo video.
This seems to
So good.
be this seems to be both competently made, very competently made, but like competently produced, but
Mm.
also has production wise does not have the burden of um too many nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, it makes sense that this would be.
But here's where I disagree,
Hmm.
because the implication was, we knew that Fast was gonna be a series of movies. They had said it, but they never said when the next one's coming out. When this movie came out, they said, "Hey, the sequel was to come out next year." Then things got really weird with the strikes, and they got pushed, and it still came out, right? But then Spider Verse, they were like, "Movie is out now. Come back next June because here's your second part."
Well, yeah, but that was blowing the load. But we found out they
And
blew their load too fast a
we
while
found
ago.
out not long after that, they were like, "Oh yeah, we haven't done a damn thing. We haven't
Yeah,
recorded voices. We barely started animation." And so that's why I think this feels even more shocking to me that this is the one that we get. And I'm at least really happy that it's really good.
I am too. I
Um,
am too.
so so you're not a connoisseur.
No, and I'm wondering if that's made my enjoyment of this film more. If I'm wondering if it's made me better enjoy this film, because some of the negative criticism I'm hearing is like it retcons or it's just not as good as some of the other ones. And I'm like, look, man, I saw the plane scene, I saw the submarine scene. I'm content.
Yeah,
That's
and that's,
I
I
don't
don't
need
know.
anything else.
Here's the thing. I've been a big fan of the series for a while. I remember seeing the first movie back in Mexico. Second movie, nobody really likes, if I'm being honest. Like, it's
That's
not
what I've heard.
bad. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
genuinely bad movie. It's just, by comparison, it's just not great.
Yes, I heard it's people's least favorite.
Yeah, usually you see like a letterbox thing, it's like the bottom. But even though I'm a huge fan of these movies, I feel like we just had this conversation yesterday. Some people take it a little bit too serious,
Yes,
right? You mentioned Jeremy Johns and who was the other person?
Dan.
Dan. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you brought up the point. You're like, I feel like these people are giving this movie or this franchise like just a little bit too much.
too much credence, too much weight, too much seriousness.
Yes. Where in my mind, I give these movies and this entire franchise credence in the sense that like I'm here to watch action.
Yep.
I'm here to watch spectacle and some crazy stunts. Yes, the story can be good, but that's not why I'm here.
Yeah, I think the. So my biggest problem with this movie, and here's how this is going to tie into what you're saying in a bit. My biggest problem with this movie, as I was watching it, was like sometimes like you're in a situation and then they really lean into that rule of like you want to raise the stakes, like make things go wrong for your character. Like they
Mm-hmm.
kind of do that over and over and over and over again
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I'm watching it and like you'll just see like shit go wrong like three times in a row for a specific task. And in my brain, I was like, oh motherfucker, this would be impossible. And then I'm like, wait, god damn it.
That's the name of the
This is
movie.
this is the best kind of movie. The movie that can in just a title make it so it gets away with its bullshit. And that's and I'm like, all right, once I accepted that fact, I'm like, let's just fucking go. Like
There's here's the thing.
yeah.
One of the craziest things about this franchise to me
Yeah.
is that like we're watching this and we're like, this is like you said, this feels impossible.
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
But then you watch how they make the scenes happen.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, there is a sense. The reason why we're also able to accept that level of impossibility as
Is the
something that
stunt work.
the stunt work, the choreography,
Yeah.
like the way the set pieces are directed. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like it makes you feel like this is actually happening, which is really stupid. Like there's a part of my monkey brain that's like danger,
Yeah.
but then like my human brain is like, wait, no, this is stunt work. This is
Right.
fake. But then my monkey brain's like, shut the fuck up, stick fuck,
I
because I want that that fun that I'm having to like not be derailed by like logic, right?
right. Right, right, right.
And I think that's what I think that's what a lot of people are almost forgetting about this franchise. So like it's kind of like Top Gun, right? Like the movie came out, it's great, but
Mm-hmm.
I think what lets you kind of forget just how crazy the stuff that's happening on the screen is like just the passion behind everyone who's doing the work.
Yes. Yes. It's the passion, it's the stunt work. I think the I, I don't know if I want to go as far as to say like the relationships between the characters are endearing, but because they so believe in their cause, and I think one of the themes of this movie is just like trust, like
Yeah,
trust
trust your
that things will
friends.
go. Yep. I think because they buy into that so much, that makes me buy into the movie. I think this movie's greatest strength is that it's able to pull you back into the suspension of disbelief. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
there are like a handful of times where I was like, all right, like this is bullshit. Like he'd be so fucking dead, right?
Oh, for sure.
Which you could say about any movie, but like the movie's task then is to make you forget that feeling and then get back into buying into the movie. And I think that this movie does it. Like I felt the true suspense in this movie. I did feel like things could go wrong for our characters, even though I knew like there's no way that they would go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like while I'll say John Wick is like style perfected,
Mm-hmm.
I think like this movie is like atmosphere perfected.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of to go back to what you mentioned, like the characters are so. Not only is it because they have 8 movies worth of chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
right? For the life of me, I cannot remember when exactly Benji joined in. I think he's in 2. I know Luther's around. I think from the get go. It's been a while since I've seen 1.
Benji is Simon Pegg.
Yes. But everybody else is relatively new.
Yeah, Haley Atwell obviously
Haley
can't be
Atwell
that
joined in
old.
the last one. Same with Paris. I mean, even Rebecca Ferguson's character was only introduced in five. Yeah,
Yeah,
five, and she got in the last one.
yeah,
So even with her, we don't really get a lot. But like these characters that are here, you feel like they've been around and together for a long time.
yes.
Like you feel, and I don't know if it's something to do with how the character of Ethan is written, that he is that fucking charismatic,
Yeah,
that like people buy into his cause, and he is, for all intents and purposes, like the ideal, like good man,
he won't
right?
sacrifice his friends.
Yeah, like
He
he will do
he will take the risk.
yeah, he will do anything in his power,
Yeah,
and even to an impossible degree do the impossible, right?
yes.
To make sure that like the good prevails, right? Even if it's not the easy solution, but then he's so charismatic and his approach to everything just like lends himself to be believed and trusted by these people who like have been around for half a movie.
Can we talk about Tom Cruise for a moment, and then
Sure.
we can dive into the plot? We the fans of the show know that I am no fan of Tom Cruise the man. Right?
Uh huh.
I
Mm-hmm.
respect Tom Cruise the artist.
Yeah.
Not a fan of Tom Cruise the man, obviously.
Fair. Fair.
I will say I'm going to give him some credit. I think for the amount of charisma that he is able to exude in this day and age, where it truly seems that the most malicious among us are rewarded the most. I think it's amazing that Tom Cruise has not done the level of evil that he's capable of doing.
I mean, all right. This is where my tinfoil hat kind of shows a little.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's see.
I think part of that has to do with the fact that he wants out of Scientology.
I've heard of this before.
I've heard that theory that like he's not really happy, but like they have something on him, and he's like,
Yeah.
well, might as well do some good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's buy into it. Why not? Let's go all tinfoil.
because here's
But
the
like,
thing, like
could you see him donning the red hat? I could.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like
I
the
think it.
fact that he was, I don't know if you remember when the first movie was filming. Someone leaked the video and they were like, "Look at Tom Cruise being a fucking diva,"
Yeah.
and he was like, he's yelling at workers, and like they showed the video and it's him absolutely losing his fucking shit at
Yeah.
people not following COVID guidelines.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, you need to get your shit together because if this shit gets shut down,
Yeah.
people are out of work for months, their livelihoods are at stake, and then we are also all trying to make a good fucking movie.
Here's all right. I'm gonna say something else. And I'm not just saying this because it's COVID, but like, I'm not a yeller. I think we need to calm down in a little bit on celebrities like yelling at people. Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
when
it
you're
depends.
it
It
depends, right?
depends.
All with a grain of salt. Here's I think the people who are most offended by celebrities yelling at people on set are the people who have never worked in a restaurant nor never seen anybody who's worked in a restaurant. Because sometimes when the stakes are high, you gotta yell.
I mean, in that case, like
Yeah,
we'll discuss this. The budgets for these movies are astronomical, man.
they've got to be.
It's and I we talked about this when the first movie came out for
Yeah,
sure. These movies are gonna. What's the opposite of rolling in cash?
yeah, eating
Because
it.
yeah, this movie is cratering money.
Gobble 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 gobble
And that,
gobble
that
gobble.
money
Gobble.
is sinking faster than the Sevastopol. But let's get into the movie because there's a couple of things that I really want to talk about,
Yeah,
spoilery ish. Boy oh boy, did I have a really good fucking time. Hold on
yeah,
1 second before we get into our spoilers.
yeah.
Let me pause for a second. But anyway, now on to some of the happenings in this
I
movie.
was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's get into it. That
Did I
honestly
nod
is I think my
off?
biggest negative.
Did I nod off? I think I nodded off.
You 1,000%. I looked over and you were asleep. I was like, oh no, he's gonna hate this.
No, but I don't think it was for long. It could have been for more than 5 minutes.
I don't know. I think something happened. I think there was like a joke, and then people laughed, and then you woke up.
That's
Oh no,
like
it's a sleepy sponge.
I was sleepy, man. I was sleepy. It's been a
Again,
sleepy week.
we made this comment before. Any teacher that I worked with makes this comment. There is no tired like end of the year teacher tired.
No, or
And boy oh
beginning of the year
boy,
teacher tired. That's tired too.
It's
Second
tired, but I don't
second
know
day of
why.
school, teacher tired is tired.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So this movie, I guess, if I'm gonna go see this movie multiple times. I'm gonna go see it with my mom. I'm gonna try to go into the city and watch it in 4DX, and I think I'm gonna go see it with Robin Collins. So at least 3 more times. And oh, man, am I dreading that first hour?
Yeah.
It's a lot of setup. I mean, part of me understands why you kind of need that. We
Pause.
have.
Not actual pause the recording, but pause.
Uh huh.
If you and I see it again
Uh huh.
together,
Uh-huh.
let's make a pact that we're just going to show up late.
I don't know if they would let you after a certain time.
Bastards. That's what I'll say. Well, let's go get refills.
Yeah, honestly, like on rewatch,
Yeah.
like everything leading up to the sub, I was like, I gotta pee so fucking bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss anything important. I could have left.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have missed anything
Yeah.
substantially important. You miss some setup. You miss some. I mean, here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. By comparison, it can be
Mhm.
a bit boring, but I do think there's a lot of things being set up during that initial hour that you do kind of need for like what is going on. So
Sure.
like you need to know like the whole thing with the president, letting them know oh shit, like all the world's nuclear uh like outposts are getting fucked.
Yeah.
Um like people are dying.
Yeah.
We lose our good friend Luther. So there is some setup that you're kind of like, okay, we need this. But man, you gotta pepper in at least like a car chase or something.
Yeah. Even the setting itself is kind of like once I saw them like walk through the subway station and just cross the street while the car was going, and I was like, oh, that's neat. Once I got there and I was just like in those tunnels for that long, I'm like, oh, please.
Yeah. It's also weird because like Ethan starts assembling his team. We don't really know why he's assembling this team quite yet. Like we
Yeah.
know he's gotten the mission from the president, hey man, turn yourself in. But that's not even like a hey, I need to assemble a team for this. Like he starts to set up his own thing to get like the rabbit's foot, which is from the third movie.
I know why I don't like this opening. Because in the opening, we have two other bits of information that are given to us.
Go on.
One, the president is trying to get him to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he won't. Two, we find out that there's these AI cultists like going around doing like cult and terrorism stuff.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this is very interesting because like you saw stuff happen with the entity in the previous one, but I didn't really feel like you got like the full display of what the entity could do. And now,
Uh-huh.
as many have said, now these movies feel even more timely than they did in 2023 when they already felt timely.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, this is very interesting. I want to see where this whole cult thing goes. And guess what? You don't get to see where this whole cult thing goes.
And here's the thing that kind of threw me for a bit of a loop. The second movie, or this movie, comes out and they're like, this cult is doing shit.
Yeah.
They're doing terrorisms. They are infiltrating governments.
Yeah.
They are putting people in positions of power. We don't know who they are.
And even outside the cult, the world is like rip it apart. And I was like,
Yeah.
are we going to see
And
a
I'm
better
like,
version of Secret Invasion?
it's been a while. And then they're like, this happened 2 months ago. I'm like, well, no fucking way. That's why I'm like, oh shit, time is a little weird in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I
Kamala
like,
Harris is president.
yeah, not Kamala Harris is president in this. And
Time is different. Time is better.
it kind of bummed me out. But all right, while I do think it's a fair criticism that could be explored in its own thing,
Yeah.
I feel like you can't go too deep into that without then losing the plot at the end of this movie. So I think
No,
for the purposes of this movie functioning, I'm like, all right.
but this is why I'm team. I think this could have been a trilogy.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I'm not
maybe it
opposed to
would have
that.
felt bloated. But I think on paper there is potentially enough there where you could
Dama
have
wants this movie to be $1 billion budget
I do.
because we're getting really close to 800 million, my man.
Damn
Damn
son.
indeed, damn indeed. Anyway, the retcon that you're talking about, the people that are upset, is that in the third movie he steals something called the rabbit's foot. Like that's the MacGuffin that they're stealing in that movie. That's the trinket, right?
Mhm.
Every movie has a trinket. And so the thing, I believe it's implied in the movie that it's like a bioweapon.
Okay.
And then this movie is like, no, it actually wasn't a bioweapon. It was like the source code to the entity, right? So that's the retcon. Is it really a retcon? No, because we're never explicitly shown that this thing is a virus.
So which one's the bio? Which one's the rabbit's foot in this movie? It's the.
It's the entity. It's like the source code. It's the AI.
Oh, rabbit. So the thing he stole in 3 was the AI.
Yeah, that's what they're saying in this movie.
Ah, okay. Maybe
Whereas
that's when I
in
fell asleep.
it may honestly it might have, but the whole thing that people are upset is like, oh well, the rabbit's foot's supposed to be like a bioweapon.
Yeah.
We're like, well, does it matter? No, they never use it in the movie, so like it's not like you're retconning an effect that actually happened.
Yeah.
It's just like now it's a new thing that can be used for a plot in a later movie, right? I do find it interesting that when they go recruit Paris, they also then get Degas, who's the black dude who was introduced in the last movie,
Yeah.
which I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like he just joins out of nowhere. I
Yeah.
thought it was weird that he just like goes along with it.
He's just kind of there.
He's just kind of, especially because he's just kind of there. Like if he
Yeah.
did more than was just there, if he had another skill more than shoot and fight, but not as good as Paris,
Right.
I kind of feel like it would be a little bit more meaningful for him to be there.
Hmm.
But I mean, I'm not opposed to him. Like he seems like a good actor, and like it's almost like he's like the man from the outside. Like out of
Explain.
all the people there in this movie, he's the one that doesn't really feel like he belongs.
I agree. Yes, I
Uh,
agree.
so I think he's supposed to be almost like the us insert in the movie, where you're just
Uh,
kind of there.
Perhaps I don't feel like I can insert myself with him as well.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I honestly think I was able to really focus on Ethan Hawke's character a lot in this movie, which I think is what you kind of want. Right?
Wait, who?
I think I was able to focus a lot on Ethan Hawke's character in this movie. Like or Ethan
Ethan Hunt.
I did that on the ride home last night, and
Oh.
I was like, "Oh, I better not do this in front of Javi because then
Uh,
I'll." I was able to focus on Ethan Hunt a lot in this movie,
Is that when
which is
Brazil
actually
showed up?
kind of, I think, what you want in a finale like this. I think you want to be able to focus on your main character.
And I
Um,
think it was to go along with that. I think it's smart because they do split him from the rest of the team
yep.
for a good chunk of the movie.
But there, the rest of the team's role is always to support what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that also then adds a little bit more to that, like that immersion of this being something that it feels impossible, but it can happen because it's one person
Yeah,
and it's not a series of everybody doing crazy, insane shit all the time. Yes,
correct.
they all do something that feels impossible, right?
But it's their part is the less than him. Well, I take that back. The millisecond great.
Hey
Yes,
man, I've seen some fucking people do like cup stacking.
they do. It's amazing.
That shit's fucking wild. So
It's
I
amazing.
I can buy someone being hella fast.
You know what I can't do fast? I'll never be able to do fast? Rubik's cubes. It's amazing when humans do them, but have you seen AI bots do Rubik's cubes
Did you
IRL?
watch the one from last week?
Yeah.
That shit fucking blew my mind. I was like, that's not true. That's AI.
And now AI could make you believe.
There you go.
AI AI could make you believe that it's true when it's not true as
Yeah,
well.
fucking wild. The core or the second act, when it starts to get very interesting, they split up because one group is going to get the coordinates for where the ship is, and, or the submarine, the Sevastopol, and then Ethan has to dive down and get it. I feel like everything after this is just like nonstop go go go.
Yes, this feels like the best parts of a James Bond movie,
Mm-hmm.
where you have awesome action sequence in one geographical area, and they're like, "All right, like you like that? You were on the edge of your seat. It was awesome. we're gonna amp it up just as much in a different place with a different climate. You know, like
Now we're
sign
going
me the
the
fuck up.
entire opposite.
Yes,
We went from cold to hot. We
to
went
Africa.
from underwater
Yeah,
to the skies.
yeah,
Holy
yeah,
shit, dude. You know
yeah.
how sometimes they say something is peaks and valleys and that's meant to be a bad thing?
No, this was
This
peaks
this
and
is this is peaks and valleys
peaks,
literally.
valleys. Yes.
Yeah. The whole thing going down to the nuclear sub. It feels so fucking dangerous.
You thought I felt dangerous, Mister?
This dude is my
Is
new
this
favorite
movie
character.
racist?
I don't think so.
I think it could be a little. I think
You think it could be interpreted as a little racist? How so? Enlighten me here.
your first guy that dies is the black guy, right? And then one of the other black guys with a lot of lines insists.
Okay. But hear me out.
Yeah.
Maybe in this movie, Luther is the first to die. But as far as the team goes, there have been so many dead white people, dude.
I said movie.
I,
This movie. And I said
but
a
it's
little
not.
racist. It's a little racist. The other character we were talking about, we're like, he doesn't do shit. It's also the other.
Yeah, but he doesn't die.
No, but I'm saying is your black characters in this movie all have some major
He
asterisks.
does shit. He helps the Inuit woman.
He helps the Inuit woman.
Right? He helps them live.
He helps them live. That's right.
They they go to the sub, and the captain of this sub is the most, I don't know if condescending is the right word, but anytime he talks to Ethan, he's like, Mister.
No, it's not condescending. It's the
It
opposite.
sounds so condescending.
No, I don't think so. He's too respectful. He's too respectful.
I don't know. To me, I don't know. It's the way he says it. I think it's his inflection in his voice.
His grandmother taught him to mind his manners, and that lesson has stuck.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
I'll choose to trust you on this, but
I'm
to me,
glad.
it made me laugh every single time. When he
Yes,
calls him
trust the
Mister.
white man. Trust not the man who's seen all these movies. Trust.
It almost feels kind of like when you go to a kid like, I see you there, Mister.
No,
That's
I told
what
you the
it
story of my coworker, the basketball
calls
coach,
everybody, sir.
called every ref sir. He was like, "That's a foul, sir."
Slow down there, my guy. He gets into the suit that's supposed to let him not die as fast in like the extreme pressure.
Yeah.
I think this honestly might be the most like surreal part of the movie.
Yeah.
Because
This was the movie that was
the people from the Ocean Gate submarine recently. Pressure is fucking scary.
Okay, was that the movie? Did we see the previous Mission Impossible movie right after the Ocean Gate thing happened?
No,
Was that something else?
Wasn't Ocean Gate early 2024? Or sorry, summer of 2025, wasn't it?
No, older than that.
Sorry, 2023.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was a movie we saw.
Oh, maybe yeah.
Around Ocean Gate, and we were like, "This is too." Maybe it was Megalodon too.
Yes.
June 2023 was Ocean Gate. June 18th, 2023.
So, then I guess it was this. It was Mission Impossible 3.
Yes.
Not 3, Dead Reckoning.
Anyway,
yeah, dude, fucking water pressure is genuinely frightening.
And this was where I will say this is where I was pulled out of my suspense the most.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from the fact that like when he's in this sub and this thing is fucking spinning.
Yeah.
You're seeing this, and every time any of those missiles shift, you're like, oh no!
Yeah.
Ethan, move! Please! It looks so good. I want to see more behind the scenes of how they did these scenes. We've seen a lot of how they did the, like all the flying, like all the actual, like up on the biplanes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, and also like planes is planes, right? Like
yeah. We've been there.
Work, right? But in this scene, like the way the room spins and the way the water level stays, in its place as the entire room is shifting, it's so fucking cool looking.
Yes.
It's a little disorienting. Is that yeah, yeah. I don't know. It gives you this like also this weird feeling of claustrophobia as like all these
Yep.
things are shifting in here. The
Yep.
water's rising,
The water's
and
coming in through like he's it's I love when he gets to another compartment and he buys himself some time of like being able to walk on dry land, so to speak, because like he's able to seal the water out. But
mm-hmm,
then it slowly comes like in and he loses that and he has to keep going down deeper into the belly of the submarine
mm-hmm.
to like find what he's looking for and escape the water. But then
Which
you're always
it was addressed a little bit because when they told him they're like, "Hey, you got about 20 minutes to get down and about 10 minutes on task, like looking for this thing."
yes,
So the fact that he was able to get in there and like decompress the room gives him a little bit of time.
correct.
But then, as like you said, as the water starts coming in, there is a specific scene when he's trying to figure out how to get out. The water level is actively rising very fast.
Yeah.
Because for a good chunk of it, like the water stays pretty level. The only reason why we are able to know that things are shifting is because the water level is staying, but the room, like you said, is moving. But
Yeah.
after a while, because of all the spinning and all the crashing that's happening, like that water be leaking. But then the thing that I find silly in that scene is he wants to go through the torpedo hole.
So this scene, here's me. I think he says it. He's like, "Oh, torpedo shaft,"
He goes
and he
torpedo.
goes in, and I'm like, "Is he?" In my brain, I was like, "Oh, he wants to launch himself out so he can get out in time. That's how he's going to survive."
So smart.
So smart. In my brain, I was like, "Yeah, that's physically possible. He can find a way to launch himself out of a torpedo somewhere." But I guess it's not as ridiculous as swimming in his undies back up from where from where the back up from where
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
surface.
know what the science and physics is on this.
The physics he'd be dead. That's the physics.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely dead.
What's also kind of wild? Watching this movie within the week span of watching Final Destination.
Oh, I bet.
That and also you haven't seen this movie. I think as someone who's becoming a Tom Cruise not
Careful.
fan, but
Respecter.
yes, or appreciator,
Yes.
right?
A respecter. Huh.
Really
Yeah.
respect more than you at least appreciate what he does.
Look, I don't think we should get too far into the weeds, but I've heard people say you should respect evil.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, respecter. I'll stay with that
Anyway,
one. I'll stay with that one right now.
the movie Edge of Tomorrow
Yeah.
has a lot of scenes that you're like, this is like the outtakes of a Mission Impossible movie,
Oh, interesting.
where like he's trying to do something that is crazy and very slim chance of possibility, and he just dies,
Yeah.
and then try again tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then try again. Because there's a lot of scenes in this where you're like, oh, that fucking propeller from that submarine should have shredded his ass.
Shredded his ass is right.
Yeah, that water pressure should have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why I think that was really in my brain was like, oh, this is where he would have died here. This is where he would have died here. This is where he would have died here.
Yeah.
And we
Several
have a
times.
scene that kind of plays out like that at the very end with the plane
That
with
okay? Yeah,
Gabriel.
the way Gabriel dies, I found very comical and satisfying. But I was also like, all right, Tom Cruise took enough of these hits already. He should be that way as well.
Yeah, man. So yeah, he gets saved. They go to this bunker in Elon Musk's backyard
Basically.
where Gabe. Man, something about these movies and what I'm realizing, people fucking love nukes.
Yeah.
90% of the
All the bombs
actual
are
threats in
nukes.
these movies are nukes.
Nuke at the beginning, nuke in the bunker, nukes all over the
Nukes
world.
everywhere. The last movie was nukes.
Yeah.
The movie before that and Fallout, nukes.
Yeah.
Nukes everywhere.
Too many nukes.
Too many nukes. But they go to this bunker in South Africa. The whole point is they have this little virus in a flash drive. Now that they have the source code to the entity,
Right.
And the whole thing is they're going to infect it with this like parasitic virus. They're going to then trap it. This is where I was coming in from the bathroom, so I was like, "Wait, hold on, explain this
Mhm.
again." They want to trap the entity in this little like flash drive while it's disconnected from the internet for like the splittest split of a second,
Yeah.
right? Is that was because that's what was being explained, and that's what I missed.
Yes, there's also like the entity has to get let into the bunker
Mm-hmm.
because of how the bunker is. Like no signals can get in. It's like somehow with the thing they got from the submarine and in the virus, they have to let that lets the entity in, and then it goes into the big computer, and then it goes into the quartz thingy, and then for a split second before it can launch the nukes as well. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to take it out. That's
Yeah,
how.
because like isn't the whole thing where they want to make sure that it's connected to the servers, but not the internet, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
that's where cutting the power comes in, goes in, take it out before it can launch nukes, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that again seems fucking insane. And then
Yes.
you have nuke in there at the same time, and then we have what I think it's been like the main primary marketing for this movie, right?
The planes.
The dog fights.
Yeah.
You have these two little propeller planes, very very awesome. I love fucking planes, dude. If this is what gets me on a
Planes are
Tessima
cool.
list,
Jets are cool.
jets are cool. Jets are cool, but I think even like the little planes are cool.
Little planes are cool too.
I would love to learn to fly.
Yeah.
But here they're going in these planes. Gabriel gets away, and then Ethan is about to get run down by a second plane, and he's just holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing to me is this is the third time he's done like an aerial stunt like this, because he does a plane scene in 5 where he's holding on to the side of a like a big military cargo plane. Then he hangs off of the side of a helicopter in Fallout,
Mm.
and now in this one he's like on a little propeller plane. But the crazy thing to me is that even though he's done these aerial things, I feel like every time, like it ups the ante without you getting like, yeah, I get it.
Yes. Yes. Hundred
Which
percent.
is honestly like it's almost very incredible to me that he's able to, and like the people who's doing like all the choreography and plotting these things out meticulously. Like I think that's to me the most impressive thing about these stunts.
Absolutely. I really wanted to see. It's rarely that I actually want to go in and see the behind the scenes of a movie. But this for this, I was like, I gotta see how they filmed this.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. There's like sections of this where Gabriel is trying to shake him off,
Yeah.
and in like doing these spins and like stalls, like he is like zero Ging. And the crazy thing is like I've seen clips of them just like recording him doing this shit like in midair, and you're like, dude, fucking like, I guess for the love of the craft, I guess that's the most straightforward answer. But like, what drives you to be like, hey, listen, we can green screen this shit, and you're like, nah, man.
This is where I think it really shows. Because, like, look,
What
the
really shows what?
this is where it shows why you don't green screen this. And
Gotcha.
I say this with loving a lot of green screen and also realizing that not every movie should be made like this one is.
Oh, absolutely not.
But like as beautiful as the scene of Chris Evans holding the helicopter back
Mm-hmm.
in Winter Soldier
Civil War.
is Civil War, which is still practical, is it not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like as awesome as that scene is, like you look at something like this and you're like, this is the fact that it's happening and happening and happening from all the different angles.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that it's real.
And it's like long shots. Because
Yeah.
like if you watch a lot of movies, like one of the ways they can get around you not catching like the uncanny value-ness of it is by doing fast cuts, like
Fast.
zooming to a
Yeah.
different angle, and before your brain can process, oh, this is clearly fake, then you go to a different angle.
Yeah.
Here, like there's just long tracking shots of him just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
And I think what also adds a lot to it is the fact that you can see his face.
Yep.
the entire fucking time.
Yep.
So like, there's not even like a, oh, that looks like a weird Tom Cruise digital face. No,
No, it's Tom Cruise.
that's him, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he is holding on. He is hanging sideways.
Respect.
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 And I don't know if it's a product of the fact that the last movie was filmed very much in the midst of COVID.
Mm.
So they probably couldn't do as much as they wanted to. And this one, like, a lot of the protocols were more relaxed. They weren't dealing with like shutdowns and as many like, protective restrictions and all that shit. But like in the last movie, and I said this yesterday when I was telling us about what I thought of the movie, like, we know that the stunts they did in the last movie were also done practical. Like him
Yep.
jumping off the side of the mountain, him parachuting down, like him landing on. I don't think he landed on the actual moving train, but he landed like, safely down on the ground, and it was
Yeah.
recorded. But it looked more CG. Like
Yeah.
you
This one
could
looks more
see the
real.
special effects in there.
Right.
And I do feel like it took away a little bit from that like sense of adrenaline that you get.
Well,
And in
and at
this
least like
movie,
you notice that sense of adrenaline more here.
for sure,
Yeah.
like there's like, this is one of those, these are scenes that you're kind of like watching, and you do want to kind of be at the edge of your seat,
Yeah.
because you're like, where do you go from here in this scene? And every time it's like, well, now the fucking plane's on fire.
Yeah.
What do you do now? Right? So there's always like a bit of an escalation, and I think that's really, really cool for these movies. And it's not until like literally like the last 5 minutes that it lets out. And I also, one thing that I appreciate is that this movie really does give most characters a chance to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, obviously you come out and you're like, yeah, Tom Cruise did all the cool shit. But even to like lesser degree, like, we're able to see all the other characters
Do something.
do something that's meaningful to the mission.
Simon Pegg gives instructions while his lung is collapsing.
That, but he was also the one building the like, he was the one getting like the coordinates that he needed for
Yep.
the submarine, right? Grace is the one who did the yoink,
Gee, the yoink.
the yoink. And even Paris and I'm blanking on the guy's name. Jesus Christ, Clark's good the hell out. Theo, that's
Mm-hmm.
the younger black dude. Like that, like, even though they're like shooty people and fighty people, like they're both given things to do for the sake of the mission, like performing surgery on Benji
Yeah.
as like his lung is collapsing. And I love that, like, the idea that this is not what she does, but he just needs her because she's like a steady hand.
Yes.
And same with Theo, who's like helping the scientist and his wife like disarm another nuke and try to get them not blown up.
Correct.
Yeah. So I guess my question for you, as we're winding down, is this the end of this franchise?
I was thinking about this last night. I'm always gonna say I hope so for these kind of things because I like to see things end. I feel like this franchise really has earned an ability to hang up the boots, and many do. But like this is the eighth movie, right? It's picked AI as the big villain over the course of two movies. I do think Tom Cruise looks older.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know how tired or not tired of this he is.
I mean, he's got a movie coming out next year that he's filming in fucking space.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I don't know how tired
That's
this
cool.
man actually can be. Here's my thing. I think there's always room.
Well, the ending leaves.
Well, not even that. What I'm saying is, I think in the grand scope of like our movie culture, like there is a space and a desire for a good spy thriller.
Yes,
Right? People love the Bond movies, and if I'm being honest, I don't think we've had
and they're not doing anything officially yet, right?
with Bond.
Yeah,
I know they're moving forward with
we're
stuff.
moving forward, but we're not like
We haven't gotten like a casting announcement. We
exactly.
haven't gotten a director. We haven't gotten anything like, well,
Yeah,
script is happening. We know something is happening. We just don't know a timeline. But even then, besides that, Do you consider John Wick a spy thriller? I don't.
No, I think it's spy adjacent.
It's spy
More,
adjacent, but I
yeah,
think
but
there's
more
also a
action.
little bit of a difference between spy and like a hitman movie.
Correct. Correct.
They there's overlap in the fact that they're like crazy action,
Yeah.
but overall, I do think they're very different beasts, right?
Jason Bourne has been done.
Jason Bourne has been done. We don't have a good like spy franchise anymore.
Yeah, this is kind of
This
filling
is
up the
it. Like I
vacuum.
think the one that's consistently given us the most bang for our buck is this. Like
Yeah.
I do like some of the James Bond movies. I'm not a big James Bond fan. I do like all of the Daniel Craig ones, even
Hmm.
Quantum of Solace, even Spectre. I enjoy them, but like we don't have another Mission Impossible right now. So that's why I think there's always room for something like that. But I do think that at a certain point you gotta scale it back. Not in the craft and like the stunt work, but in the stakes a little bit. Like
Yes.
when every mission is you gotta disarm a nuke,
Right.
or this thing wants to release a nuke, or this thing
This
is
thing was
trying to think that you're
taking all the
nuking it,
nukes.
right?
Yeah.
I think it's almost like we need to go back to a little bit of basics, like the first movie where you're trying to steal, like they steal the, they mentioned that they steal like the database of all the foreign assets they have, right? Like that in itself is not a very
High
super
stakes.
duper world ending high. It's high stakes in
Yeah.
the sense of like if this happens, your unit's fucked,
It's no good, right?
right?
But
No good. But then where you can get that sense of thrill and adrenaline is from like the set pieces, right?
right.
Put them in a weird place and
Yeah.
have that be where we the audience get the thrill. I don't know, because I just, as much as I do like these movies, I can see myself almost having a little bit of like nuke burnout.
Hollywood in general for blockbusters might be taking the lesson of a desire to scale back. I think you're seeing it actually in Marvel. I think we've seen just a few tastes of it, even in Thunderbolts, which we haven't reviewed yet. But I kind of see Thunderbolts as like a bit of a scale back, like a bit of a scale back movie in terms of, what that villain was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Galactus will be interesting, but that's but
It's
that's a
funny
separate.
you mentioned that Marvel is scaling back, and we have Galactus coming up, and then we have fucking Doomsday and Secret
We
Wars.
we do, but I think this is in there. I think Marvel realized you can't just do multiverse for the sake of multiverse and have people buy into it.
Yeah.
And I think that the lesson they're going to kind of take is the need to sort of scale things back a little bit. Andor, a show you have not seen yet, but is it proves this on a couple counts. It shows how if there's a demand for an IP, that demand is going to be filled
Mm-hmm.
because like this is a prequel to a prequel. It is like it's like tile. It's really like filled in all these like grout lines with grout in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how much of like the Star Wars timeline it's coloring in, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's a pretty grounded story. It's not a really high stakes. It's not a really high world ending stakes story. You know what it's leading up to, and you know what the thing is leading up to is also leading up to, right? I don't know. I think there's room for this franchise if it wanted to return and go a little smaller. It
Yeah,
definitely could.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't take the wrong lesson. I mean, I don't think they can take the wrong. I don't think they can afford to take the wrong lesson with
Well,
this.
that's the other thing. I know we can never really do a great job of predicting the future of technology, but like given the potential of AI, don't see and know how you can predict a bigger threat than generative AI like they did
Mm-hmm.
in this movie.
Yeah.
That's my small monkey brain just saying like I don't see anything else more dangerous on the horizon and who knows, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I
Um
mean, for the longest time, the biggest threat we had was legitimately nukes,
yeah,
right? That was as big as it gets. Now we have
computer and nukes.
computer with nukes. I've been playing Magic the Gathering a lot with a couple of friends. And
Yeah.
one of the decks that I play with is like supposed to be very, very dangerous. Like when someone plays with this deck, it's bad news, so you got to take them out. And
Yeah.
my reasoning to them was like, please don't kill me. I'm like a squirrel with a gun. Yes, gun is dangerous, but I'm also a dumb fucking squirrel. I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, that was my connection here.
Yeah.
The reason why I say they can't afford to take the wrong lesson with this is because these movies are so fucking prohibitively expensive.
Yep.
The budget for this is 300 to 400 million.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ. I think the last one was about the same. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that means that in order to break even, you gotta almost double.
Well, was I forget? Wasn't the last one considered a financial flop, quote unquote?
Absolutely, it was.
Yeah.
The reason for them not doing that was, or not fully eating all that, was because I think they had some like tax deals with some countries.
Uh.
So probably maybe this movie has a similar deal, or
Yeah.
maybe like the financial burden is not as bad. But I don't know. Like, it's tracking well, but it's gonna get fucking wrecked by Lilo and Stitch this weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this summer movie season.
Ah,
I think we're hitting the ground running overall.
I am too, because other than me starting grad school, I also don't have a lot of
Fucking
major.
loser.
I also, hey man, I'm doing it for the money. I also don't have a lot of major life events right now, inhibiting my ability to go to the movies.
Yeah.
So it's
Let's
a good
watch some
thing.
movies, friend.
Let's watch some movies, my guy.
Yeah, brother. We will be back soon. We'll see. We'll see what the schedule is like. Maybe we'll double back to Thunderbolts if we have a
Yeah.
chance. We got Lilo and Stitch coming in. We have Bring Her Back from the Philippou brothers coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We've got How to Train Your Dragon. I'm so fucking excited for How to Train Your Dragon. I'm gonna weep. I'm gonna be a fucking mess.
I'll be there to help you cry, give you a shoulder to cry on, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this. Definitely not Final Reckoning,
No, no.
but
But
it's the latest into the Mission Impossible
yes, and a great latest it
franchise.
was. A great latest it was.
Yeah. We also got to finish Lord of the Rings. We have
We
been
do.
we have been busy, 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 busy people.
Busy bees.
Busy
But
bees.
it is the best 3 months of a teacher's.
Hell yeah! Unless you're a weirdo and take summer classes.
Hey man, do it for the money. But honestly, now I'm so much less intimidated by it than I was the first one
Good.
because I know it's not going to be as much reading.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy the movies. Go watch this. I think we both give it pretty good recommends.
yeah. Do it.
Yeah. Until next time, he has been Thano.
He has been Javier.
And this has been the Cine-Scoots Movie Show. Bye.
Bye.